It was supposed to be just another race day at the Nürburgring. But within seconds, Formula One legend Niki. Lauda's car became a fireball, and millions watched in horror as one of the sport's greatest champions fought for his life. What happened next would change racing forever. August 1st, 1976, the German Grand Prix. The air was thick with tension and rain. Drivers argued that the track, nearly 14 miles long, was too dangerous in wet conditions. But Niki Lauda, the reigning Formula One world champion, wasn't one to back down from a challenge. He urged the race to continue, confident in his skill and precision. What no one knew was that this decision would lead to one of the darkest moments in Formula One history. As the race began, the cars roared down the treacherous Nürburgring circuit, a track nicknamed the Green Hell for its sheer danger. On the second lap, disaster struck. Niki Lauda's Ferrari swerved suddenly, clipping a barrier and bouncing back onto the track. Within seconds, his car exploded into flames. The fire was unimaginable, a wall of heat and smoke. Lauda was trapped inside, unable to escape as flames engulfed him. Other drivers, Guy Edwards, Harold Ertl, Brett Lunger, Arturo Merzario, stopped their cars and ran straight into the inferno to pull him out. It was a moment of pure heroism on a day filled with chaos, when they finally dragged Lauda from the wreckage. His helmet had melted, his face and hands were severely burned, and toxic fumes had scorched his lungs. To everyone watching, it looked fatal. He was rushed to the hospital, slipping in and out of consciousness. Doctors gave him hours to live, but Niki Lauda wasn't finished yet. Incredibly. Just 6 weeks later, still bandaged, his face scarred, his eyelids barely healed, Lauda returned to race again. The world was stunned. He could barely put on his helmet, but his determination was stronger than ever. "I had two choices," he once said. "Stay in the hospital and die, or get back in the car and live." That 1976 season became the stuff of legend, a battle not just between Lauda and his rival, James Hunt, but between life and death itself, while Hunt went on to win the championship by a single point. Lauda's comeback became the ultimate story of courage and resilience. He wasn't just racing anymore, he was defying mortality. The aftermath of that crash reshaped Formula One forever. Safety became a top priority. Tracks were redesigned, fire-resistant suits were improved, and medical response times were overhauled. Niki Lauda's near-death experience forced the entire sport to evolve. But for Lauda himself, the scars were a constant reminder. He wore them openly, refusing reconstructive surgery beyond what was necessary. When asked why, he famously replied, "They're part of my life story. It's honesty, grit." And refusal to hide his trauma made him one of the most respected figures in sports history. Years later, Lauda continued to influence Formula One, not just as a driver, but as a team boss and mentor. He played a pivotal role in Mercedes-AMG's modern success, even guiding Lewis Hamilton's rise to dominance. To the very end, he remained the same unshakable man who had walked out of a burning car and back into history. When Niki Lauda passed away in 2019, at the age of 70, the world mourned a legend, not just for his victories, but for his spirit. His crash was shocking, his recovery miraculous, and his legacy eternal. Because Niki Lauda didn't just survive that fire. He rose from it, stronger, braver, and forever unbreakable.